Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Monday Morning Motivation, live from Shanghai with me. I'm the MMM founder, Janine Jacob, and all the way from South Africa. It is 2 a.m. in South Africa. Cath did not make excuses, and she decided she wants to do MMM with us. And she's going to speak about emotionally coaching children at 2 a.m. Isn't that crazy? It's amazing. Thank you so much, Cath. It really means a lot. As we always like to say at Monday Morning Motivation, stop making excuses. So Cath is the best example. In case you guys are new to Monday Morning Motivation, well, we're just a community. For us, it's all about healthy habits. We actually have more than 3,000 members by now, 8 WeChat groups, and we just want to start in a positive, inspired, motivated, new way in the new week. And in case you are not in our WeChat groups yet, you can scan the Chinese QR code if you want to be in the Chinese speaking group, or otherwise you can add me on WeChat and I'll add you to the English speaking group chat. Yes, so we have something new at MMM. We like to promote our furry friends. Some of you know that I also have furry friends here, as you can see. That's our MMM mascot. Here we have Timmy. If you are looking for some company now in the pandemic time again, we have Timmy based in Beijing. He's looking for a foster or to be adopted. And he has a condition called the swimmer syndrome. So his back legs cannot be used, but he's still a very cute, furry cat. So if you're interested in fostering, adopting this very friendly, active male, scan the QR code and get in contact. And in case you ever miss some webinars of Monday Morning Motivation, no problem, we got you covered. We have more than 100 webinars by now from more than 2 years and so many new recordings coming every week. So 400 RMB for the membership. You have access to so many recordings, English and Chinese recordings as well. Plus, you get discount with a lot of different partners from language, health products, health, coaching, business, and so on. Last but not least, nearly last, if you're looking for a nice present, I have to reprint the books, but we also have e-versions of it. 365 days of motivation here, lots of beautiful quotes, as you can see. We also have happiness, journaling, we have goal setting, and so on and so on. A nice gift. If you love what we're doing, we are volunteers doing this, so you can just donate, and we also give 50% to the 1 million tree project. All right, that's enough from me now. And you also know, so this is the lineup for this month. As I said, Mondays are in English, Wednesdays in Chinese. And I would say enough talking from me now. The next 20 minutes belong to amazing Cath from South Africa. And then you can ask her lots of different questions. Oh, Tatiana, nice picture. Good to see you. Cath, the stage is yours.
Hello and welcome. So great to be here with you. Yeah, I mean, from South Africa, it's still very dark here, so I can't get good lighting. But nonetheless, the content is more important. So thank you so much for having me here. And I'm going to share my screen and let's get started talking about emotionally coaching children. So when we are emotionally coaching children, we are allowing children to grow and flourish through coaching them instead of directing them. Traditionally, we find ourselves directing children, telling them what to do, but there is a better way in coaching them. So I'm Cath Reilly. I'm a former Montessori assistant, a toddler mom, child development geek, and parent coach using ICF and NLP techniques. I'm the founder of Nourishing Parenthood Coaching, and I work with parents to form conscious living and conscious parenting habits, as well as regain their joy in parenting and connect with themselves on a deeper level. So in today's presentation, we're going to be looking at what does it mean to be an emotional coach for your child. Mindfulness is at the heart of a nurturing relationship. Steps for emotional coaching, evidence for emotionally coaching children, and then how to work with me if you're more interested, and a Q&A afterwards. I want to start with this quote from L. Arknast. When little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it is our job to share our calm and not join their chaos. Whenever I find myself in an overwhelming situation, I remind myself of this. It is my job as an adult, as a parent, to share my calm and not join the chaos. When I share my calm, my child becomes calm. When I join the chaos, chaos gets bigger. So how do we create calm and share our calm with our children? Dr. John Gottman, a psychologist, came up with 5 steps for emotional coaching. I've taken those 5 steps and added a little bit more clarity on how to work specifically with children. This is from my own experience being an educator for early childhood education and coaching parents. So emotional coaching is a practice of turning or tuning into your child's feelings and helping them to learn and cope with their emotions. In turn, they learn to self-regulate. So the first step is that you are aware of your child's emotions. The second step is you recognize your child's expressions of emotion as a perfect moment for connection and then teaching. Number 3, you recognize that learning happens without you even lecturing. Number 4, you listen actively and with empathy, validating your child's feelings without judgment and shame. Number 5, you help your child learn to label their emotions with words. And number 6, you set appropriate limits when you are helping your child solve problems or deal with upsetting situations. So this may seem like so much. How do we even start? Where do we start? We first start with mindfulness. Before we can even jump into these steps, we need to be mindful of ourselves. Mindfulness is at the heart of a nurturing relationship, both with ourselves and with others. The first relationship we have is with ourselves, and then with other people in our lives. To be mindful means to live in the present moment and be aware of our thoughts and our feelings, and to be open to those of our children. When we are present and mindful, we are showing our children how to be present and mindful as well. It's a skill to practice, practicing it more and more and staying present with clarity within ourselves allows us to be present with others and respect their experiences, because everybody is different and does not have identical experiences for the same situation. And you will find this so often with you and your child. You will have the same experience, but see the experience through different lenses. Respecting doesn't always mean that we agree with all of their behavior, but it allows us to see and understand the full experience of our children in that moment. Children learn about themselves through the way that we communicate with them. When we are worried about the past or the future, we may physically be present, but we are mentally absent. So no, children don't need us to always be present at all times, but they do need us to be present during connecting interactions, such as emotional coaching. Mindfulness also is understanding your child's stage of development. Children are still developing their prefrontal cortex, and this is the part of your brain right here in the front that is responsible for regulating emotions and making lots of decisions, called executive functioning. When your child is in an emotional state, they cannot access this prefrontal cortex. An emotional brain struggles to be logical. I'm sure you found that in the depth of a tantrum or an emotional outburst. It doesn't always seem logical, and that's okay, and that's normal. That's why we are there to guide them and coach them through these big emotions. So let's ditch the labeling of you're naughty or you're not listening and understand where they are in their development. So jumping into the steps of emotional coaching. Number one is you are aware of your child's emotions. Try to notice signs of emotions before your child's emotions overwhelm them. Is your child looking a bit frustrated, disappointed, sad, worried? Your initial reaction is so important because that's how they learn to respond to their own emotions. That's how they learn if their emotions are safe or not safe. Should I fear them? Should I not approve them? Should I not show them? We may, because we have been parented in that way, initially react with ignoring them or pushing them away. But let's make an open space for them, because all emotions have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's a cycle that we go through, or like waves in the sea that wash over us. Emotions don't last forever. We are able to move through them. Welcome these emotions and let your child know that you are a safe person for them to experience these emotions with. When you start to see your child becoming more emotional, you could see they're becoming a little bit more quiet. If they're frustrated or upset, you can say, well, it seems like you're a little quiet. And open up the space and invite them to talk about why they are feeling like that. Secondly, you recognize your child's expression of emotion as a perfect moment for connection rather than teaching. Our instinct is to go into teaching, to lecturing, because our children need to know what to do and the right thing to do, right? How else are they going to learn? Instead of allowing them to ride the waves of emotion, become more regulated. And then, if it's the right time, bring in the teaching moment. If your child is in the grip of strong emotions, allow for a period of calming down. Create a space where they can calm down. Some techniques, breathing techniques, or just moving their body helps to regulate them. But first, deregulate yourself. Calm your own body down. It is okay to take a break. Walk out of the room, take a deep breath, and then come back when you feel calm. And then thirdly, you recognize that learning happens without you even lecturing. Your child is always learning. Learning never stops. And if needed, when your child is ready, you can focus on problem solving, or you can come back to a certain situation and talk about it, tell a story about it, ask some questions. When your child is calm, a calm brain finds it easier to cooperate and learn. For instance, your child was fighting with his brother and started to hit his brother. You had stepped in and held the boundary that hitting is not okay and you're keeping your child safe. And then you can discuss how he felt in that moment that he was hitting. And how do you think his brother felt in that moment? And what can he do in the future when he starts to feel that feeling of, I want to hit? Help him to problem solve and let him come to a conclusion. How can he keep his own body safe? You help your child learn to label their emotions with words. And this is also for children who are nonverbal. I'm saying words, but really labeling their emotions in a way that they are able to, because all children are able to label their emotions or understand their emotions. And this can start from a very young age, helping your child find ways to label their emotions and describe their emotions. And this can happen through everyday tasks. For instance, with a toddler, you can have different cards with faces on their cards, put the cards face down, turn one over at a time, and ask, oh, what is this face feeling? What is this person doing? Can you make that face? And it's very funny to make different faces. And you make that face. This person looks angry. So they learn to identify anger or sadness or happiness. And they learn to identify that within themselves. Actively listen to them talk about their emotions. Listen and validate and show empathy. Make them know that no emotion is bad. All emotions are acceptable. And all emotions are valid. Lastly, you set appropriate limits when you are helping your child to solve problems or deal with upsetting situations. Conscious parenting is not passive parenting, and safety is priority for all. You are able to set appropriate limits when you are helping your child to solve problems or to deal with situations. Older children can harness their logical reasoning part of the brain much more easier than toddlers, and toddlers may need a little bit more time or guidance when they find themselves in an upsetting situation, and you need to help them to set that limit. Just yesterday, we went out with friends and we went to this beautiful animal park, and my daughter was playing with her friend, and as toddlers are, they started climbing on everything, and they found these rocks in a perfect row to step over these rocks. Both children were having a great time balancing. And then I noticed my daughter was getting frustrated. I know her personality. I know she is very strong-willed, while her friend has a more quiet personality and wants to take his time when doing things. He was slowly walking over the stones at his own pace. And my daughter was getting frustrated because he was taking too long, and it's her turn Turns are hard. Turn taking is hard to learn for toddlers. So identifying that, being mindful that this is something that she is learning. She wanted to reach up and push him off. I stepped in the way, said, I'm not going to allow you to push Darian. I'm keeping you safe and Darian safe. I can see you upset. I can see that you really want your turn. You will get your turn when Darian is finished. Darian felt safe because he could continue his work. And my daughter felt safe because I validated her emotions. And it was just that short little intervention, validating her emotions, keeping her safe. The next time that she found herself in the same situation, just 2 minutes later, when Darian was taking his time and she wanted her turn, she was able to say, it's going to be my turn. It's going to be my turn. And knowing that sometimes we're going to have to repeat. Of course, with children, we're going to have to repeat things. This is how children learn. And children are still so capable of learning to regulate their emotions with us emotionally coaching them. So there is evidence for emotionally coaching. And it is shown that children who are coached have fewer emotional and behavior problems, including problems with anger, anxiety, and acting out. They also tend to develop better social skills and peer relationships. There's also been experimental evidence that was done, and children who have behavioral problems, whose parents were trained in emotional coaching, saw an improvement in their behavioral problems. And those children tended to have less behavioral problems down the line. In a study involving preschoolers, researchers spent about 15 minutes reinforcing parents' emotional coaching practices. Immediately afterwards, they watched how the parents interacted with their children during a challenging task. Post-intervention, parents showed more emotional sensitivity and good humor, and their children responded with less frustration towards events, had greater persistence and enthusiasm. So emotional coaching is good for parent and child. Of course, it doesn't mean that it is a cure-all. Some children will have troubles that require other interventions. But having emotional awareness and emotional coaching alongside this creates a better sense of empathy, more sensitivity, thoughtfulness, problem solving, and children are able to develop emotional regulation within themselves. So thank you so much for having me here. If you are wanting to work with me further, please scan my QR code and add me. I do one-on-one coaching as well as public speaking.
But I would have turned on my books
Yes.
from Dolly.
My daughter is here next to me. She is agreeing with the story that I told about her. In April, Sophia and I will be joining hands together and having a live course, Parenting with Consciousness. This is a 3-week course that will help you understand conscious parenting better. You will get to know yourself better and connect with your child on a deeper level. This is for building a foundation and a lifelong relationship. We have 2 options, option 1, option 2. It's 3 weeks, 3 lives, and 3 mentorings, as well as three meditations for every week. If you want to add onto that, we have 4 one-on-one coachings, 2 with me and 2 with Sophia. Our waitlist is opening this week, so please DM me parenting and I will sign you up for the waitlist. You get 1 extra meditation as well as locking in the discount. We're so excited for this and can't wait to have you along. So if you have any questions for me, please ask.
Yes, now it's the time. You can ask Cath anything you like. You can unmute yourself or you can use the chat group. We had a lot of questions, very good questions at 7 a.m. as well. This is a non-judgmental room. Let me stop the recording.